All right, good afternoon and welcome to the San Jose State Weekly Football Press Conference. Today is Monday, September 16th. The Spartans, following their first of two byes this year, will head out on the road for the first time this year. Saturday, September 21st, a game on the road at Arkansas. A 6:30 Central Time kickoff, 4:30 here in the Pacific Time Zone with the SEC Network covering the game action on TV. We'll also have the call for you on 9:10 a.m. and the Spartan Radio Network starting at 4 o'clock with the pregame show. A reminder to fans, a 6 o'clock start for the coach show this week at the Hukilau as we welcome in San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan.
Hello, thank you for coming. A lot of us around here are sad about the passing of Coach John Ralston. He was such an amazing human being, obviously a tremendous football coach, but my first tour of duty at San Jose State, he was in this building with us every day my entire time I was here, and he had this incredible way of grabbing all the young coaches like me and saying, hey, come in here, let me talk to you for a minute, and he would just drop some nugget of wisdom that was just really special. And so I'm sad to know that he passed the day before yesterday, but he was such a great man, had an incredible impact on so many players, coaches, and people like that. So our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family, and we're going to miss Coach Ralston very much. He was a great Spartan and a great ball coach and an even better human being. Coming off the bye week, had a really good week of work. The guys seemed to really be excited about coming to work every day, which I was encouraged by. Coming off the tough loss against Tulsa, I was interested to see how we handled that, and I thought we handled it very well. And then as we got into the weekend, it gave our coaching staff a little bit of time to get on the road and do some recruiting, which is all part of this. It's all ongoing at the same time. None of it ever ends. The coaching, the recruiting, the mentoring, the building of a program never ends. So we are heavy into preparation for Arkansas. We have a ton of respect for Coach Morris and his staff. Those guys are really good guys and good coaches. Have watched his teams for a long time, and even back to his high school days. He's one of those guys that has always been extremely creative offensively, and done a really good job every stop that he's been at. So, great challenge for us going on the road to an SEC school, long way from home. You get all the things that come with that. You get kind of a different kind of fan base and a great crowd. You're going to get some humidity and some weather, and so all these things are things that are going to make this game exciting and fun for us to play in. I think our players will be excited to play. Watching them on film, they've got a lot of talented players and they play hard. And I think a good indication of that is how that game was going last week against Colorado State. Right, it's tied late in the game, and then all of a sudden they explode. They explode offensively. They get a huge play on defense, and all of a sudden the game is out of control. So it shows you kind of what they're capable of in terms of, with how hard they play, and kind of what I'm sure Coach Morris and his staff is trying to instill in that program about finding ways to win, believing you can win in the fourth quarter, and obviously they did a nice job of that last week. So we're excited to play. Excited to have a few more days of practice and then get on a plane and go out there and just have a great day playing football and living in the moment and having a lot of fun at a great venue.
Good afternoon, Coach.
How are you?
I'm doing well. So my first question is kind of about the status of Josh Love. Obviously, he exited the game against Tulsa in the fourth quarter. He said he was doing okay after the game, but I was wondering if there's any residual effects from the injury sustained and if he was a full participant in practice this week.
We don't talk about injuries, and so just as a rule, we don't. But Josh is going to play, if you want to know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is he doing?
Great.
Preparation goes?
Great.
Hey, Coach. How you doing today?
Hello.
So going to SEC country, have you guys been preparing for playing at the Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium? Any crowd?
I think the normal stuff that people do is try and anticipate some crowd noise and play with some of that in practice. Try and get ready for what that's going to feel like. The one thing that I cannot pump into our practice environment is 90% humidity. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to mentally prepare for more than anything.
Coach, we've got a couple from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette on the phone with us. Bob Holtz is on the line. Bob, one question for Coach?
Yeah, I've got a few here, but I'll just ask one at a time. Coach, talking to Mike Bobo last week, he said his guys kind of get extra fired up to play an SEC team, going to an SEC venue. How's that for your guys?
I think it's the same. I think everybody has a ton of respect for that conference and obviously what they've done. And in the kind of the recent memory, at least for the kids that are in our program now, they've seen a ton of success come out of that conference on a national stage. So I think they'll be excited to play. Like I mentioned earlier in this press conference, it's going to be a great venue, and we're playing a great opponent in Arkansas. So I think our guys will definitely be excited to play. These are the moments that you kind of dream of growing up, and I think we'll play our best football.
Coach, we also have Tom Murphy on the line. Tom, one question for Coach?
I did. Hey, Coach, you mentioned watching Arkansas on film, but you had the rare opportunity to watch it on TV if you had the SEC network there, the Colorado State game last week. I wonder if you saw any scouting on that and just general observations about what you see from this roster and what they look like with Nick Starkel at quarterback.
We were all recruiting this weekend, so we didn't watch any football on Saturday on television because we were bouncing around junior college games in California. But it looks like Nick Starkel's really finding himself, just distributing the ball really well. They have some really talented guys, I think, at receiver, and then also both their tight ends are fantastic. So I think that's, when you can play, when you can jump in and out of 11 and 12 personnel and move the football and still run it and throw it effectively, I think that's something that presents a lot of challenge, just kind of with the effectiveness of Starkel, and then also their running back is a really good player. So there's definitely they have a lot of weapons that we need to prepare for and that are going to challenge our defense.
Coach, last week against Tulsa, you mentioned the size up front, both defensively and offensively, was an issue for you guys. Once again, playing an SEC school, you're going to be confronting the same kind of challenge.
Right.
How have you guys addressed that this week and maybe tried to find some schematic abilities to kind of get past those kind of challenges?
Well, it's not like we're going to gain 40 pounds in a week, right? So we're going to have to do a great job of kind of mixing up the looks and presenting, challenges in terms of if we getting more people to the football. How do we do that? How do we find a way to get some pressure on the quarterback, which we struggled with against Tulsa. So, there's no easy fix for that part of it. Just with where we're at in the development of this program, we're bigger and stronger than we've ever been. But definitely when going on the road this weekend, we know that they're going to have some big bodies that we're going to have to deal with, and that's just part of playing football. But, that's also why you play the games.
Hey, Coach, speak about going on the road. What's it going to take to win this game over in SEC country in Arkansas?
I think the biggest thing for us is it's going to come down to kind of what we've been saying all year. We have to find a way to stop the run. We have to find a way to run the football. We need to be great with a turnover battle. Last week against Tulsa, that was 0-1. We had that late fumble, but so far we've done a nice job taking care of the football, and I think we can continue to do that and hopefully create some takeaways by our defense. Anytime you can win the turnover battle, it gives you a chance to be in the football game or gives you a chance to win it. So that's a huge point of emphasis for us. But really for us, it's going to start with stopping the run and running the ball.
Coach, back to the phones. Bob, another question for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. Ethan Aguayo. Lawrence told me how to say that name, and I hope I'm saying it right. I guess he's leading the nation in tackles per game. As I understand, he was a walk-on. Kind of, what's his development been as a player, and just how does he make all those tackles?
So I wasn't here as the coach when Ethan came in, but I did see him play in high school. In high school, he was a receiver, and he was a pretty good receiver too. But he walked on here, and he's obviously made his way. But from the moment I got here 2 years ago, he's been one of those players that's been extremely diligent about his process. Just a really hard worker, does everything right, and spends a lot of time watching film and preparing for the opponent. He's just a great kid, and I think that's why you see him being in the right place and able to finish some of those tackles. I think that's one of those things that You hope for all the players in your program that when they get to their senior year, they're playing their best football, and I think we can say that for Ethan.
Coach, sticking to the phone lines. Tom, another question for Coach?
I do, Coach. I'm wondering, outside of Ethan, guys who just show up on Saturday, who's really played well for you? And John Chavis mentioned he thought both quarterbacks would go. Has that kind of been your operating procedure with those guys?
We haven't really decided what we're going to do with that. That's kind of a game by game thing. Nick came in when Josh went down last week and did some good stuff, and so. But Josh loves our starter, and there's no question or confusion about that. We know that we're playing a really active defense, big bodies up front. They can rush the passer. They're really stout in the run game. Their linebackers really like to run and hit, and then you see some really good coverage out of the back end. So, I think it's safe to say that we're playing a really good football team on the road, and we're going to have our best stuff to get this thing in a position where we want it to be.
Oh, yeah. But from your side, who showed up for you game to game? Who's been your standouts?
On defense?
Yeah, both sides of the ball.
I think Silosi Latu's done a nice job at the nose. Some of those young defensive linemen, have done some good stuff consistently. Cade Hall. I also think that that linebacker group's been a solid group. Jesse Asuna, you already mentioned Ethan, and I think that's a group that has some maturity for us and has played a lot of football, and they're finding ways to impact the games. Then in the back end, we feel great about Jay Leonard and Trey Webb, two guys that are, started as freshmen and sophomores, and now they're in their junior campaign, so they're feeling a little bit more comfortable. They're starting to see the game a little bit clearer. They're both physically in a better position than they've been. Those would be the guys that have shown up there defensively for us. Offensively, it's been an interesting process. I think our quarterback's done a great job of distributing the football to a bunch of guys, and I think we need to continue to do that. Just so depending on whatever we're running offensively, everybody is a threat to catch the ball and do something with it. And then at that running back spot, I thought we got some good minutes from those guys the other night. DeJon Packer leads the way for us there, but I think Tyler Nevins has been really productive over the course of his career here and on some carries this fall. So some of that stuff is still getting settled for us. Exactly who's going to carry the load full time at running back, but I think Josh's ability to distribute the football with accuracy and good timing is the thing that really matters for us.
Coach, Saturday marks the first of 3 road games in 4 weeks for you guys. On that note, what kind of continuity do you think that's going to help you guys build as far as just team bonding and kind of building, like you said, the team's relationships and whatnot within there, just being on the road so much?
Well, I think as a program, we invest a lot of time in our guys knowing each other on a deeper level. That comes from my experience working for Dick Tomey. That brotherhood, that chemistry is so important when you go on the road because you don't have those fans. You don't get that emotional boost from your home crowd or your parents being in the stands or whatever. It's just a little bit different feel to it. So these are situations where we really have to lean on each other, and especially when we're going to play such a good team like Arkansas. So that's going to be critical, how we continue to do that. And then we play a late game Saturday night. We're going to get home at 6 a.m, and then we got to get ready for a Friday night game against a really good Air Force team that beat Colorado on the road last week. So we've got a really tough month ahead of us. We know that, and we have to lean on our brotherhood and our belief in each other more than anything.
Coach, again, back to the phones. Bob, another question for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. I think Josh Love's a 3-year starter for you. How valuable is that, and kind of what are his strengths? What does he bring to the table? I see where Nick's your leading rusher, so he's obviously doing some good things. Maybe what are his strengths?
Josh is one of those kids that, he's also was a walk-on here, and he's just got a great story. He's battled through a lot of adversity. He's won the job. He's lost the job. He's battled through it. He's found ways to compete. And, we felt like he made a huge jump between, his second year and last season. And then I feel like he's made another nice jump this year. Obviously, we're only 2 games in, but that's what it looks like to me in terms of the decision-making process and where he's going with the football. So that is exciting to me. And then Nick's a freshman, so he didn't get here very long ago, and he's figuring it out as he plays. But I thought he did some great things throwing the football against Tulsa. His legs are obvious, something that he does well. You can see that on film. But he also did a nice job making throws the other night. So, I think both those guys, complement each other well. Josh is doing a great job mentoring Nick and talking him through it and all that kind of stuff. So I think it gives us a little bit of a, a 1-2 punch that can keep people on their toes and kind of, not sure exactly what they're going to see series to series in a football game.
All right, Tom, another question for Coach?
Sure, this is my last question. I really appreciate you guys patching us in. Hey, Brent, they're tied into 85. What you think of him as a matchup, and did you see the play where he broke all the tackles last week?
Yeah, he's a stud now. Obviously, he's a big kid, and he's just got really, really good skill set in terms of his ability to run and catch. And that's one of those things. A year ago we had a guy kind of like him, and those guys can change the game because they're just such a tough matchup. Who's going to cover them? A linebacker? Well, then is he more athletic than the linebacker? What kind of matchup does that present for you? Is he going to be on a safety, right? Then he's going to be bigger than the safety. If he's on a nickel, then he's bigger than the nickel, and so the nickel then has to deal with working around his big bodies. But both those guys are good, and that shows up on tape. That's easy to see, because 89 is a good player too. So both those guys obviously are impact players for them, and O'Grady just looked like a man the other day running through all those tackles. So obviously that's something that we're going to have to contend with on Saturday.
Coach, we talked about the size a little bit earlier. Something that might help with that would be, getting the tight ends involved. Obviously, Billy Humphreys, 4 receptions against Tulsa. Derek Dees Jr., in the first game against Northern Colorado, had a touchdown reception too. How important do you think it would be getting those guys involved in your offense and kind of maybe highlighting them this Saturday?
No, I think that's critical. Hopefully, the way we're running things, Josh goes with the ball where he's supposed to go by his progression, right? And so depending on if that ends up in their hands, great. If not, that's because the defense dictated that it should go somewhere else if he's going through his progressions correctly, which he's been doing. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they impact the game. Both of them, and Brett Foley, all have a really important chance to impact the game, and in the run game also. Because there's going to be some of those matchups at the line of scrimmage that are going to be big boy battles, right? And those guys have been doing a nice job blocking at the point of attack, all 3 of them. And so this is going to be an extremely, serious challenge for them in terms of being able to hold up at the line of scrimmage so that we can generate some run game and get that going.
All right, Bob, back to you. Another question for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, it's been it's been a pretty tough decade here at Arkansas, but especially the last 2 years. Brett Bielema was last year, they went 4-8, and Chad endured a 2-10 season. I know you've had a couple tough seasons too. Kind of what's the key to getting through those, and where do you feel like you guys are at in terms of the progress you're making?
Well, I think the biggest thing when you're going through a tough season like that is keeping your team together and just continuing to keep focused on the process of improvement, which is hard to do. I think, for young people nowadays, they have to deal with a lot more outside factors that are extremely critical of them. And in our quick fix society, everybody wants it yesterday. But football doesn't work that way. Football is a game of process, and it's a game of development. And I know that that's what we're trying to do here. And I think we're making the right steps in terms of who we're recruiting, what our players are doing academically, kind of how we're behaving, off the field. I think I see a lot of progress, in the direction we want to go as a program. Obviously, we still got work to do in terms of getting this team to where we want it to be. But, and I'm sure it's the same way for Coach Morris. I think trying to rebuild any kind of program is an incredibly challenging process. But as long as you focus on the process and doing the right things all the time, you'll get to where you want to go as long as you stick with it. The challenge is keeping everybody focused on that process and not just saying, oh, well, this isn't going the way I want it to. I'm going to stop working hard, or I'm going to stop going to class, or whatever the decisions are that young people can make that halt that progress. So I love the path that we're on. I think we're doing the right things here at San Jose State. We got tremendous support from our administration, from our president, and our kids have been awesome. just battling through the process and continuing to work every day. I really believe in them. I believe in what we're doing.
Bob, we're going to let you go and keep asking questions if you have them.
Okay, I appreciate that. Coach, when you have a bye week after 2 games, is that like a big plus to have 2 weeks to get ready for a tough road game like Arkansas, or this early in the season, it's not that big a deal? Or what's your thoughts on that?
You know, this is I think the earliest bye that I've been a part of as a coach. But I still think there's value in it for us. It gives us a chance to kind of assess what we did right and wrong over the first 2 weeks. It gives us a chance, in all 3 phases of football to look at what we're doing schematically and how that matches up with what we want to do and what do we want to be putting on tape week to week. And then it also gives us a chance to get a little bit of a jump start on recruiting. So I think, those early buys is however you choose to look at it, right? Some people probably feel like it's too early and they wish it wasn't there. We looked at it as an opportunity to improve our team, to get some good work done, to develop some of our younger players, and then also get a head start on recruiting.
And you mentioned Chad Morris in your opening remarks. He said he's seen you at some clinics.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe you guys have ran into each other on the recruiting road. How well do you know Chad, and just kind of what do you think of him?
I think he's a really good coach and a really good guy. We've had a chance to talk a couple times. I haven't talked to him in a little while, but I was watching what they did at SMU closely. My mother and father-in-law are SMU alums, so that was, and my wife grew up going to those games there with the Pony Express and all that good stuff. So that's a program that we've always kept an eye on. So we watched Chad's progress over time there. And I just, in my small interactions with him, he just seems like a really good guy. He seems like he's about the players and doing the right thing by them. And he's in a great spot where he can build a program, and I know he's excited about doing that.
And Portland State came in here and they had the ball down 7 with, 12 minutes to play. And then, the Colorado State Arkansas game was tied 34-all with less than 9 minutes, I think. So, teams have come in here and played them competitively. Is that something you can talk to your guys about? Like, hey, it's an SEC team, but other teams have been playing with them. We just got to try to hang in there and make it a fourth quarter game and see what happens.
I think that's probably the way that maybe some of our kids will look at it, or our players. I think for me and our coaching staff, we just look at it like this is about us and how we play. It's about what kind of effort do we play with, what kind of execution do we have. I think that's the key component. I felt like we played really hard against Tulsa. I didn't feel like we executed at the level we're capable of executing. And so, for me, it's a chance for us to turn that back on us as a coaching staff and as a football team and say, okay, this is about us. How are we going to handle this moment? How are we going to handle the humidity? How are we going to handle the crowd? How are we going to handle this opponent that's in front of us when we get there? And so for us, it's more of, it doesn't matter because every game's different, right? So it doesn't matter what Portland State did or Colorado State did. It's going to matter what San Jose State does. And so we got to make sure we're in the right place to play the kind of football we want to play and the kind of football we think we're capable of playing.
Yeah, I know you played at UCLA in the early 90s. Did you happen to be on that 88 team that played Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl?
No.
Before your time?
That was before me. And
Okay.
I was on the team at UCLA. I didn't play much. There's a lot of guys better than me. A lot of guys better than me.
Okay, UCLA's, they used to be pretty good there. I guess they're rebuilding now too.
Yeah, they'll get it. I got faith in those guys.
I also read in Lawrence's notes here, he told me you guys are going to play in 5 time zones. What kind of challenge? I mean, what's that like? Playing in 5 time zones during the season?
I think it's just line up and play. I mean, what other choice do I have? I don't get to say, hey, I don't want to play this game in New York. It doesn't matter. It's for us. It's like, hey, let's go. It's a chance to play. Like I mentioned earlier, we're building a program here, and so every opportunity for us to play matters. Every opportunity for us to play and demonstrate our desire to play this game the right way and execute the level and play with the kind of level or effort level that we want is an opportunity for us to show kind of where we're going and what we want to do. So, 5 time zones, 2 time zones, doesn't matter to me. I don't think it matters to our team. I think it matters let's just go play. Let's just go play.
Okay, well, hey, I'm good. Like Tom said, we really appreciate you guys patching us through so we could do this.
All right, well, thank you. Appreciate everyone being here. Thanks for the calls.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that does it for this week's press conference. Once again, San Jose State on the road in time zone 2 of the year. They'll be in Arkansas this Saturday, 6:30 Central Time kickoff, 4:30 Pacific. The pregame coverage on the flagship station 910 Real Talk AM will begin at 4 o'clock Pacific time. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.